Alright, I wanted to reflect on a comment that I found on the internet, on YouTube. It was basically, I was just watching this this video about, this movie coming out about Bruce Lee, and then they're talking to the cast, and then the person that's playing Bruce Lee, at part of the video, okay, this is what the person said. It said, at 10:30, this actor says, quote, "He's a human being, not a superhero," end quote. And this is the person's comment. It says, "Wrong. Superheroes are human beings. That's like saying Michael Jordan is a basketball player, not an athlete. What, a human being cannot be a superhero? Like saying Bruce Lee was a husband, not a father. What, a father can't be a husband? Like saying Hilary Clinton is a lady, not a politician." This actor doesn't understand basics on Bruce, as they asked Bruce, "So are you going to be a star in America or in Hong Kong?" He didn't fall for that illusion of dividing the two. He replied he was going to be both. A human being can be a superhero, and for this actor to say he's a human being, not a superhero, shows this film is lousy. Hilary Clinton is both a lady plus politician. Jordan is both an athlete plus basketball player. Bruce Lee, the human being, is only a legend because of the real superhero. He was. And then he says, "Learn Jeet Kune Do, or don't make a film." I liked what that person said. I agree with that. And I think that's an important message to share. So the question is, the reflection is Bruce Lee a superhero? Now, a superhero can be a human being. It doesn't have to be fantasy. As a child, when you're supposed to look at your father like a superhero. Your father and your mother created you, and you're just this small little infant that's helpless, and you wouldn't be able to survive without them taking care of you, providing for you, protecting you. And they are like your superheroes. And then as you age, superheroes is not just about watching television and looking at imaginary figures like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or X-Men and Superman and Batman. Those are imaginary superheroes. But real life superheroes, they exist. They exist to the people who have respect, great respect for others who have done great things. So there could be a lot of soldiers that are superheroes. There could be police officers that are superheroes. There could be firefighters that are superheroes. Your father could be a superhero. And so many people in your life can be a superhero if you give respect to these people and you wish to learn from these people. Sometimes when your father isn't around and you have no one to look up to, then you start seeking towards individuals from mass media of whom may serve to become your superhero. So rather than looking up to your own father, you might look up to a Bruce Lee, and then he may be your superhero. Rather than looking up to your own father, then you might look up to Michael Jordan, and then he becomes your superhero. And it's like there's a lot of people out there that have accomplished great things. And when you don't acknowledge another human being to be a superhero, then you're almost saying that, hey, I'm at your level and we're equal. And you're not really above me, but we're equal. And if you want to have that type of mentality, then I guess fine, but it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna feel the same, because some people out there are humble enough to acknowledge other human beings to be at a much higher level themselves, that at a much higher level than themselves. And a child really has no choice but to acknowledge the existence of something greater than themselves, because if they didn't acknowledge that, they wouldn't even survive. I mean, they don't even have to acknowledge it. It's just what nature has intended, that there are people or things or whatever the case may be that are higher than you. And in the case of a child, the child wouldn't even be in existence if the parents didn't bring the child into existence, protect the child. But as we grow into adults, we may our egos may become so crystallized that we forget that there's something higher than us. And when we fail to acknowledge the greatness of others and what they've accomplished and what they could do beyond what we can even ever come close to ourselves, then it's almost like a failure, to see the reality for what it is. And it's just lying to ourselves to make it seem as if we are, somehow at the center, and above all, or equal to all. I mean, Osho's teachings would say that nobody can ever be equal. There's no such thing as equality. There's always going to be people that are at a higher level than you, or below you, or whatever the case may be. But what he would say is that we are all unique. We're not equal, but we're unique. And I see that truth. So it's clear that somebody like Bruce Lee was at a much higher level than a lot of people in certain areas of development. And those areas should be acknowledged. And when you try to take that away and make it seem like it's not a big deal, then it's almost like a disrespect towards his legacy and everything that he's worked so hard for. You just think about all people that have accomplished great things. Imagine if people said Einstein wasn't a big deal, what he did wasn't a big deal, or the 6 championships that Michael Jordan won was not a big deal. He's just a human being. Einstein, okay, the greatest scientist in the world, oh, no big deal, he's just a human being. Usain Bolt, the fastest person to ever live, winning all these Olympic gold medals, oh, he's no big deal, he's just a human being. I mean, when you do that, when you downplay a person's accomplishments like that, that is not showing support to that person. That is not giving respect to that person. That is almost outright disrespect. And it's almost like a jealousy or hatred towards the person, in which to make it seem as if he's not a big deal, but I'm just as good, if not better. And that right there is clearly an ego trip. You know, that's competitive. That is, you know, like all the people that thought they were better than Jordan, but they never were, but they still think that they are, and they never acknowledge Jordan to be at a higher level than themselves because they just choose not to believe it. So the people that are playing against Michael Jordan are not his friends. Essentially, they're his enemies, the people that don't want to acknowledge his greatness, but they want to strive to top him, which they couldn't. And I think there's a lot of people out there that view Bruce Lee like that, so they don't want to acknowledge him as a superhero. They want to say that he's nothing special. But yet, if he was nobody special, then why are they making a movie about him? You know, why are they even using his name, using his legacy, using his reputation? Why are they making money off of him? Why are they telling his story if he wasn't a superhero? Like, it just, none of it makes sense as far as that statement is concerned. You know, as we get older, it may take more and more greatness from certain people around us in order for them to gain our respects, or in order for them to gain our respect. So Michael Jordan had to win 6 in a row or 6 championships in order to gain people's respect. Rather than just winning 1, he ended up winning 6. Michael Phelps had to win multiple gold medals to gain more respect rather than just 1. And that's the crystallized ego that's saying, oh, you know, this person's not good enough. He only won 1 gold medal. He only starred in 1 movie. You know, he's only, you know, a little bit good. You know, it's just, that's our ego speaking. That's failing to acknowledge the accomplishments of others around us, to downplay their accomplishments, to make it seem as if it's not a big deal. I've seen better, I've done better. That's the ego stepping in. And that's not humble. That's not the spiritual way. But that's competitive. You know, so is Bruce Lee a superhero? I think for most, he would be. But not for everybody, because not everybody respects Bruce Lee. So for example, I've been openly honest to say that I'm not a fan of Jackie Chan, so he would not be my superhero. Not at all. I don't give him that respect. But for somebody to say that Bruce Lee is a human being, he's not a superhero, but then all of a sudden contradict himself and say that he's a fan of Bruce Lee, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. you're contradicting yourself when you say something like that, you know. But I do acknowledge Bruce Lee, at least as far as my life is concerned, that he is like a superhero. And he provides inspiration towards my own growth. And also to the growth of a lot of people that I've met that also give him the same respect. But not everybody will give him that respect. Just like Jesus, you know, there's a lot of Christians and Catholics that put Jesus high up there. But then there's practitioners of other religions that don't put Jesus up there like that. So we pick and choose whom we're going to give our respect to. You know, and you know, that's ultimately up to us. But I just see a lot of competition going on. Almost everybody is looking to become, not everybody, but a lot of people are looking to become the next Bruce Lee. So some people are willing to step all over Bruce Lee and trample all over his grave and disrespect him while they take his position or attempt to take his position. That's like a violent way of overtaking. So like, it's like one boxer against another boxer. Say one boxer wants to beat the living nightmare out of Floyd Mayweather so they can take the throne. It's like a violent way of overtaking. Another way is not necessarily overtaking Bruce Lee, but acknowledging that Bruce Lee has become a great inspiration towards their own development, and then they try to do the best that they can within their own art to build their own name while always paying the respects to Bruce Lee. So an example might be Jet Li, might be Jackie Chan, it might be Donnie Yen, you know, people who established their own careers while giving respect to Bruce Lee and saying that he was the person who inspired me to be where I'm at. Even Tony Jaa has mentioned Bruce Lee a lot. So there's that way where you don't spit on Bruce Lee's grave, but you just acknowledge his presence and his influence within your path, your way, and you're trying to be the best that you can be, opposed to saying, oh, you know, Bruce Lee won nothing special, he's just a human being, I'm just as good myself, if not better than him, so don't give him attention anymore, but give attention to me. That is the competitive way, and that's not really giving respect to Bruce Lee. That is kind of, that's not kind of, but that's disrespecting Bruce Lee. And you're not really a friend of Bruce Lee, but essentially like an enemy of Bruce Lee, like a hater of Bruce Lee, like somebody who's jealous of Bruce Lee. But it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, most people that practice the martial arts wants to be the next Bruce Lee. They want to have attention. They want to have fame. They want to have money. They want to be the top person in the world. They want to be in the throne. Now, how are you going to go about doing that? You could do it disrespectfully, you could disrespect them and be competitive with them. Or you could just pay your respects, do your best to be who you are, and work hard towards developing your own following. Be yourself. And just be the best that you could be, while always giving respect to him. Never downplaying his accomplishments. You know, I think that's the only proper approach for the people that truly want to be respectful to Bruce Lee. But as far as your enemies, the people that you dislike, then you could use their names and destroy their reputation and kind of use them for what you could get out of them, out of their expense. You could downplay the accomplishments of Steven Seagal. You could downplay the accomplishments of Jackie Chan, downplay the accomplishments of Jean-Claude Van Damme, downplay the accomplishments of Wesley Snipes. Like, what does it matter? These people are not your friends. These people are not people that you admire. These people are not people that you respect. These people are not your superheroes, so you could just talk trash about them, call them just regular human beings. They're nobody special. And then just kind of use them to bring yourself up. That's what you do with your enemies. You don't do that with people of whom you have great respect towards. People that truly respect Bruce Lee would acknowledge him to be a great human being, a great martial artist, and essentially that equates to pretty much being a superhero. Somebody beyond the average. A superhero is like somebody that's beyond the average, who's gotten to a very high level in what he does. So if you don't acknowledge Bruce Lee of being at a high level, then essentially you're pretty much a hater of him. You're jealous of him. You're an enemy of him. So you'd have people that may view Royce Gracie to be their superhero, and then they'll downplay everything about Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee is their enemy. You know? So, you know, that's my feedback on it. Bruce Lee, you know, to me, he would be a superhero. But to the haters of Bruce Lee, they wouldn't call him a superhero. They'd probably just call him a human being. You know. But there's going to be people of all races that will be competitive towards Bruce Lee. So there will be a white person that will try to overtake Bruce Lee. There will be a black person that will try to overtake Bruce Lee. And there will be Chinese people that will try to overtake Bruce Lee. Japanese people, Filipino people, Thai people, whatever people of whatever race will do whatever they can to overtake Bruce Lee. So, for example, the people that assassinated Malcolm X were not white people, but they were black people. So there's black on black crime. The people, that are your enemies are not necessarily of a different race. You could have many enemies that are the same race as you. So be aware, there are Bruce Lee haters out there that are Chinese themselves. Bruce Lee haters that want to be the next Bruce Lee. Meaning that they want to be the next person to be put on that throne. So, no different than Floyd Mayweather having that gold belt, and everybody wants that belt. No matter if you're white, Hispanic, Asian, or black. If you're a boxer, you want that belt. It's not even a racial thing. It's about you wanting to destroy that person that has that belt, to overtake him. And as soon as you set your mind towards that belt, you don't care about who's holding that belt. You don't care who it is. That person becomes your enemy. And that's what competition is all about. And it's the same thing the people are doing to Bruce Lee, is that he has this legendary status that everybody wants. And certain people will go towards that, trying to obtain that status through competitiveness, ego, pride, jealousy, hatred. And these are the enemies of Bruce Lee. But as I stated, there are certain other individuals that will not go in the competitive route towards Bruce Lee, but they will humble themselves, acknowledge his greatness, use it as an inspiration towards developing their own potential, and working hard for the rest of their lives to establish their own following. While continually providing, giving respect towards Bruce Lee. And not turning against him. Because they recognize and realize that Bruce Lee is a part of their family. And you don't turn against your family. But you work with your family to build. So is the Lee family. And there will be other people that are Chinese that are not a part of the Lee family that will seek out to destroy that family so they can become the next family that is given great respect. But that's what I see. It's intricate. The true disciples or fans of Bruce Lee had to be very aware, very perceptive. Just like this person that left a comment, he knows what he's talking about. He sees it. It's like there's something wrong that's going on here. This is not right. So you need to see the deception, see the corruption, and do not participate it within yourself. And if you can, try to stop it. You know, kind of like maybe somebody that you don't know that pretends like to be your friend, and he tries to steal money from you, and you catch him. Like, that's what's going on out there. There's people that are trying to pretend to be friends with Bruce to take money from him, from his name, from his foundation. Take away the respect that he has in order to gain respect for themselves. There's a lot of corruption going on out there. And this provides opportunities to be perceptive of this corruption. But that's what I have to say about that.